Well, this section deals with the lower hull. This is how the model is started. You put these four pieces together and it makes this beautiful lower. You put these four pieces together and it makes the lower hull. How do you do that? It's very simple and yet somewhat complicated. These four pieces none of them are identical, and they go together in a specific sequence. In order to determine that sequence, what I've done is on the inside, on each side where the thing is going to contact another piece, excuse me, there are little dots. The dots are a code. So here we have 1, because you have to start somewhere, and you have to go, and the next one in line is 2, and here we have the next one, which is 2, 3. So what you do is you simply put these together so that you match the dots. So here we have in this position here, dots 2, 2. 2 on this side, 2 on that side. You put them together. Now, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the handy dandy sanding block and just kiss this so that it's really clean and even. You got to try not to do this so that you create an angle on this vertical here, because then it's hard to glue together. So you dress that joint and you apply glue here. I use gap filling super glue. And you put it together. Now, because of the way the camera is set up, I can't see here. But that's where I want to be. So if I was doing this without the camera, I would simply turn this way. And I'd be able to see these two surfaces of these neighboring parts line up along that line. So you simply apply the glue here, and you put it together, and you apply the zip kicker, and everything's hunky-dory. But one thing you want to do is, and I forgot to prep the piece for that, sorry about that, but in the kit there are 4 pieces of wire that are 4 inches long. And what you do is you curve these pieces of wire to match this curve on the inside here. And what the thing is after these joints have set, you want to put epoxy in the crevice, in that where the little ledge meets the wall, and you want to put epoxy in there and put this wire in so it straddles the joint. And then you just want to bury this thing in the epoxy. And what'll happen is when you have all 4 joints, the thing can't come apart ever unless you pry off the epoxy. So in order to show that, we'll get rid of these and bring this up. This is a fully assembled lower hull. Note the tape. Okay, take the tape off. And what we have here is fully assembled, and you can see, you can see the joint here where that wire is in place. It's in all 4 joints. And this thing is ready to go. Almost. What's going to happen here is there's going to be a very slight misalignment of these surfaces. And that's the important thing about that surface plate. Because you want to assemble this thing upside down on top of the surface plate. This thing I've got here is not the surface plate. But I did use the surface plate when I put this together. There's still a bit of misalignment, and the reason for that is each of these 4 quadrants was molded with this top surface actually being exposed. It was open. So what I do is I put a piece of plexiglass over it just to give it a dead flat appearance, and what happens is you have minor differences in thickness in these areas. So this is going to be ever so slightly out of being dead flush. That's what you need the big sanding board for, because you put this down on it and you push it and you rub it like this and it'll even it out. You could do it with the hand sanding block, no problem. It just takes longer. You do this and that surface is bit cleaner than it started out. It takes a little bit more time than I just did for this demonstration. So now I'm going to go over some other things with this. One of the things that I'm going to fix in the next go around of molds for these parts is this hole here. There shouldn't be a hole here. This is where the rendezvous control system RCS thrusters go, and they'll mount on here, but it's not very positive. So what I recommend is gluing a piece of plastic on the backside across this hole, so you've got something that you can attach glue to. It's a bit more complicated than that, but I just need you to be aware of it, because the pieces will fit. It's just that you need to fill in around them a little bit with some body filler after they've been mounted. So this is something you have to fool around with just to see what I'm talking about. You'll understand it perfectly. Now, the other thing that's going on here is we're going to install what's called the base plate. And to do that, I'm going to stop the tape and go grab the base plate, because I don't have one right here with me, even though I thought I did. Oh, wait, there it is right there. Hold on. I'll be right back. I'm moving and I'm picking it up and I'm stepping back into frame. This is the base plate. This is the thing that the engine's attached to in these 4 holes. The base plate is it is in essence the bottom of the entire model, and this side is the good side. The other side's really flat and featureless, so you know that goes to the inside. So on the inside of the lower hull there are these registration doohickeys. There's a little tiny one and then there's a big long one. Well, this thing fits between them. And originally this was set up so that it had to be very carefully maneuvered, and then you had to very carefully lock this thing by turning it so that each of these 4 locations engaged the lip of this base plate. But what I do now is very simple. The base plate fits in here. You engage one. Maybe I can do it on camera here. You engage this goes between the 2 here, and then you go to the next one, and you can pop that into place. There it goes. And then you go to the 3rd one, and you can pop that into place. Or maybe do the 3rd and 4th at the same time. Anyway, all you're doing is flexing. There it goes. All you're doing is flexing resin. Resin flexes. It's pretty good, darn good at it. Okay, the base plate's in. And the thing you want to do with the base plate is you want to rotate it to the final position, and you're going to find places like this one here where you can see the edge of the base plate a little bit. So once you've got this thing turned and oriented so most of these places line up, you're going to have one that's off. So this is where I recommend that you put so you tack this into place with glue so it can't rotate anymore, and then you work on this surface here. I don't even know if you can see that, but anyway, whatever's sticking out where it shouldn't, just cut it back. And it's usually just a sort of a long-winded sanding job. But nonetheless, once you've done that, the appearance of the base plate where it meets the opening, the trim, the way it looks is just much better. If you don't trim this back, it doesn't hurt anything, and you probably won't even notice it after the model's finished. But this is what has to. This is the recommendation. So the base plate is now in place in the lower hull. The structure of the lower hull is now complete, and you're going to glue every single inch of space that is the 2 surfaces coming together with gap filling super glue, and let that kick, and that isn't ever going to come apart. So this is the end of the first part of the assembly guide detailing the lower hull. Now, of course, we're going to come back to it because we've got to put engines under here. That's next.